Some Championship clubs have got off to some fantastic starts in this Championship season and some not so much. So in this video, we're going to be ranking every single Championship team based on their start to the season. Now, it's not just points on the board. It can also be kind of performances and how much promise these teams have for the season, kind of the general vibe around these clubs at the moment. So if you're a Championship fan, if you support any team in the Championship, do hit subscribe on this channel because we talk about your teams pretty much every single day. So if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, it only takes 1 second. It'll be very greatly appreciated. As I say, if you're a fan of the Championship, this is the place to be. Do hit that subscribe button for daily content. And do drop a like as well if you do go on to enjoy the video. It only takes 1 second as well. It'll be very greatly appreciated. And let's jump straight into things. We've got a little tier list here. We've not got a tier list in a good while, so it's good to bring that one back. We've got 5 tiers here for each individual category. You've got Unreal, which has just been obviously an unbelievable start, well above expectations, what we expected. We've got Good, so they've had a decent start, a good start you'd say overall. We've got an Average, where you'd probably say they're maybe where they're expected to be right now. We've got Below Par, and then we've got Awful. And we'll start off with Birmingham City. Also, as well, it's also worth taking into consideration kind of the fixtures as well that these teams have had in there as well, because of course some teams have had difficult opening games. It's always going to be difficult for them to be higher up in the table. So it's not just completely based off the table, because that would just be a very silly way of kind of judging things. So I'm going to go for Birmingham City. I'd say it's been a good start for them. 7 points after the opening 4 matches. I'd say that's a pretty decent start for Birmingham City, given the fact they've played 2 of the relegated clubs in the Premier League last season in Ipswich and Leicester. And they've also got 2 wins then against Blackburn and Oxford. So I'd say it's been a pretty good start for Birmingham overall. The main negative you'd say with Birmingham is overall they're not taking chances when they get them, and maybe chance creativity in general. As I say, 4 goals scored in the opening 4 matches. It's not been a bad start at all, I'd say, from Birmingham City. Of course, coming up from League One, they've obviously brought in some big names. They've been active in the transfer market. They've got a very good squad, and I do think they'll be up there come the end of the season. And 7 points from the opening 4 matches, given the fact they've played 2 relegated sides, I'd say it's been a pretty decent start for Birmingham. And now we're on to Blackburn Rovers, who currently find themselves sat in 19th with just 1 win of the opening 4 games so far. And the win coming against Hull City, a 3-0 win, a really convincing performance. And then games outside of that for Blackburn, a 2-0 loss against Norwich, got sent down to 10 men. And then as well as that, a loss to Birmingham, where honestly they could have got something from the game if they weren't so poor in the 90th minute onwards. And then a 1-0 loss to West Brom in a game where West Brom probably just about edged that game. Overall for Blackburn, I don't think it's been as bad as what people are maybe making out. I think the current situation in the club with kind of the transfers, what's going on, like it looks like, I think Matt Targett might be on his way as well. Obviously, they've lost Travis. They've lost so much experience in that team. It's quite easy for Blackburn fans to look at it and say we're in a bad situation, which I'd say they are. As I say, I predicted Blackburn in the bottom 3 for a reason, with the amount of quality and the amount of experience they've lost. Obviously, they've brought in a lot of players who are kind of unproven right now. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to say below par. I wouldn't say it's been absolutely awful, because they got a really good performance in there against Hull City, who are a team that we think will be down there come the end of the season. So they managed to get a convincing win against them. As I say, it's not been a good start in the slightest. I wouldn't say it's been an absolutely awful start, but I wouldn't say they've convinced me in the slightest. So I'd say it's below par. You could honestly borderline. I'd put it more towards the awful category than average, but they have got themselves at least 3 points on the board. And Bristol City, honestly, I could say that was an unreal start, but I'm going to say it's a good start because they honestly could have had more points on the board. They're currently sat in 6th, 9 goals scored. You know, I could even put them in unreal, because I actually think they've given the expectations that Bristol City had, I think even myself included, and a lot of people predicted Bristol City to kind of drop off this season, which could obviously very well still happen. We're only 4 games in. But, you know, they've literally, they're unbeaten as well. 2 wins, 2 draws. Yeah, it's been an unreal start for Bristol City. A ridiculous performance against Sheffield United on the opening day, which has really kind of made that statement for Bristol City on how their performances should be this season in terms of going forward. Chance creativity has been really, really impressive. Honestly, they could have got better results. They could have got, they could be on more points, to be honest. I mean, they drew the game against Derby County, which I think they should have won. They were in control of that game for the vast majority of it. Should have put it to bed. Against Charlton, it's a 0-0 draw. I think they've been very, very impressive, and they've been a team that surprised me a lot. Because as I say, I and a lot of people agreed that they thought Bristol City might drop off quite heavily this season. The early signs with Scott Twine, with Mehmeti, Emil Rees up front, the midfielders, they've got a really good system in place. They've got some real quality in their side. I think a lot of people might end up eating their words with Bristol City, including myself, of course. Charlton Athletic, I'm going to put it in average. I think I think they started off the season really well with that win in the opening game of the season. Then they got themselves a draw, 2 losses in a row there against Leicester, where to be honest they weren't bad in that game at all. Honestly, on another day they could have got something against Leicester. And against QPR, I think that game definitely could have gone either way. But as I said in my previous video, it just shows the ruthlessness of the Championship. If you don't take your chances, if you're not going to score when you're on top, teams can punish you. I'm not saying that QPR are some unbelievable team that are going to punish, but it's definitely a big step up the Championship is to League One in a game like this, as discussed before. In a game, if that was in League One, Charlton played like that against the League One team. Against Leicester, they're walking away with 3 points. They're walking away with probably a 1-0 win or something. Against QPR, they might have scored another goal when they're on top in the game. And at the end of the day, the Championship, it is a completely ruthless division, and Charlton are definitely finding that out. But I don't think it's been a bad start. Obviously, getting a win on the opening day against Watford, 0-0 draw against Bristol City is a very good result. And obviously, they never expected to get a result against Leicester, let's be real. And against QPR, they maybe probably expected better in terms of the way things were looking at the table. But QPR, I'm a QPR fan. We do have quality, and hopefully we can hurt a few more teams this season. So as I say, I'd say it's been an average start for Charlton. 4 points in the opening 4 games isn't bad at all. Sat in 16th. You'd say that's you'd definitely take that as a Charlton fan if you got offered that probably after the first 4 matches. You're a Charlton fan, let me know. Coventry City, I'm going to say it's got to be unreal, hasn't it? They've put teams to the absolute sword. What is it? How many goals have they scored in these opening few games? 14 goals in 4 games. My criticism, it would take me kind of maybe towards putting it as just a good start, is defensively. 2 goals conceded to Oxford, 3 conceded to Derby. And as I say, 6 goals conceded in the opening 4. It's not a shambolic defence, but for a team at the top of the table, especially we saw last season with the likes of Sheffield United in 3rd, Leeds and Burnley, all very, very solid defensively. And if you want to be up there at the end of the season, of course, for Coventry City, you've got that firepower that can hurt any team. But as I say, they've definitely got something to improve on in terms of defence. They've of course brought in Wolford from Ipswich, who can hopefully shore that up. But you'd say going forward, Coventry City have been absolutely ridiculous. And as I say, defensively is something that they definitely need to improve on. But hopefully that will come in time for Coventry City. Derby County, I'm going to have to put it in an awful start. I know the performance for Derby was much better against Ipswich. And obviously they were very unfortunate. I would probably be putting that in average if they got themselves below par, if they got a result in that game in terms of got the 3 points against Ipswich. I think they were unlucky in that game, of course, conceding last kick of the game. But, I want to talk about the performances before that, which, Bristol City, they were lucky to get a point out of that. Coventry City conceding 5 goals, not good enough. West Brom, that was in the cup. And then opening game of the season against Stoke, again, they were the by far second best in that game as well. I'm just judging it off Derby County. Haven't really been the definitive better side in any of their matches in the Championship so far this season. And Derby have had what looks to be on paper a pretty decent transfer window. Of course, they brought in a lot of players from Blackburn, and that's well spoken about. But I think they had a decent window on the most part, and I'm expecting more of Derby County this season. A lot of people would think Derby County would be dark horse this season with John Eustace in charge. It hasn't really quite amounted to that so far, but as I say, it's 4 games in. It's very early days. We're just ranking it, of course, off these opening 4 games and the performances so far. Hull City, I actually started the season really positively, but it's just kind of dropped off in the last couple of games, to concede 7 goals in the last 2 games. Win against Oxford, very good result. 0-0 draw against Coventry. Things started off really positive. I do worry about Hull this season, I'm not going to lie, but they have got a few players coming back from injury, the likes of Balumi, which will definitely help them out. But defensively, to concede that many goals has been pretty poor. You look at them last 4 games, 3-2, 3-2. Those are relegation kind of defensive numbers. So I'm not going to say it's been an awful start because they have got points on the board, but I'd say it has been a below par performance, below par season so far for Hull City. That game against Blackburn, I don't even know what happened to them there. And then against Bristol City, it is difficult going away to Bristol City with the kind of attackers that they've got. But as I say, Hull City, I'd say below par so far. Ipswich, you have to say it's been awful. You look at it with Ipswich this season, they're sat in 20th place. They were meant to walk the league, and obviously it's still very early days and things can change quickly in the Championship. But you look at the quality of their squad, to walk away with 0 wins in the opening 4 matches. Arguably they could have had less points. They got a point against Birmingham, which I didn't think was deserved, and against Derby it was a last-minute goal as well from the penalty spot as well. They've had 2 times there where they could argue about Ipswich could be on even less points, and that's the positive you can take. At least they've got some points out of games where they haven't played well, but they should be winning games. They should be winning games in the Championship with the money they've got in that squad in terms of how much they spent in the Premier League. Obviously, they lost a few players since coming down to the Championship. That's going to happen. But they have also spent a lot of money in the Championship as well. We're definitely expecting much better from this Ipswich team. And as I say, people said they should be walking the league. You can't not put it as an awful start, having only 3 points on the board after the opening 4 matches. It's just no getting away from it. It's just quite simply not being good enough for Ipswich. Leicester City, I mean, I'm going to put it in average. I mean, it might look like it's a little bit harsh, but, look at the games that they've had. Of course, Sheffield Wednesday, you know the situation that Wednesday are in. They should absolutely be steamrolling Sheffield Wednesday, with all respect to Wednesday. To then go and lose to Preston after that, in a game that Preston deserved to win. That game, Preston were very good in that game and really did a number on Leicester in that match. Then you look at it, they got themselves a 1-0 win against Charlton, where performance wasn't the best, but at least they got the result. Birmingham City, it was probably their best performance in terms of they looked very, very well drilled in the game. They came with a game plan. Martin Cifuentes did in that game against Birmingham, and on the counter-attack, Leicester were good. They picked their moments to go forward, and that was probably the most controlled Leicester performance out of the lot, which, as I say, the bar hasn't really been that high in terms of performances. And as I say, I don't think they were scintillating. They weren't unbelievable against Birmingham, but they definitely did enough to get the job done, and that's all you really need to do when you've got the quality that they've got with the likes of Fatawu. And I've also got a lot more quality outside as well. Not even just about Fatawu, but obviously him being that kind of main man. And as I say, it's been a decent start in terms of the points, 9 points. But as I say, performances-wise, I'd say it's been an average. So I wouldn't say it's anything to write home about, anything like that. Because Leicester, at the end of the day, as I say, they've got the quality squad. We're expecting them to be as good as, we're expecting them to be winning the vast majority of games. So I'd say it's been an average start, because performances so far haven't convinced me. But this international break, I do think Leicester will come back and they'll be a much better side. Obviously, I know Martin Cifuentes as well, being a QPR, if I'm watching my team be coached by Martin Cifuentes. Give him time and he'll absolutely be able to make things right at Leicester City. I'm sure of it. I do really rate Marty as a manager. Right, Middlesbrough. I mean, you can't not say unreal, can you, really? It has been unreal. 1 goal conceded in the opening 4 matches. Just brought in another new striker, so it could be really good this season in Strelec, or sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but yeah, he looks really good this season potentially for them. Tommy Conway, very good forward. They've got a very strong team, Middlesbrough, who definitely underperformed last season. And as I say, performances have been pretty decent as well to go with the results. 3-0 away at Millwall. I feel like they've definitely rode their luck at times, but at the end of the day, that's going to happen at times in games and at times in seasons. They weren't unbelievable against Swansea. It was a very close game. They won the game 1-0. Millwall 3-0 win. I mean, you get to go away to Millwall and put 3 past them. Not many teams do that in the slightest at all. Probably none in the last year have put 3 past Millwall. Very, very rarely anyway. Norwich 2-1 win. And then a 1-0 win against Sheffield United, where they kept them very quiet as well. Been a really impressive start. Rob Edwards, I wasn't convinced with the appointment at the start, but slowly starting to win me over. Of course, it's only 4 games into the season, but you couldn't really ask so much more as a Middlesbrough fan, other than that 4-0 loss to Doncaster, which was absolutely diabolical. But a really good start to the season, an unbelievable start for Middlesbrough. You've got to put that in the unreal category. Millwall, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. I mean, they are sat in 12th. I mean, they have conceded 6 goals. I mean, you've got to put it in an average start. You could even argue. I mean, I couldn't say it's a good start, to be fair, with Millwall. Just losing 2-0 to Wrexham, yeah, I mean, I've had an absolute shocker even thinking about putting it in that category. I've got to say average. You could even argue maybe even below par. I mean, they've got some positive results in there, of course, going away to Sheffield United. I mean, everybody's gone to Sheffield United or played against Sheffield United and beaten them, but that was a very good result there. 2-0 loss against Wrexham is really, really disappointing, with... They created chances. They had a couple of chances. I think Coburn had a few good chances. It just didn't really quite click for Millwall in that match. And Wrexham just kind of did a number on them in the end on the counter-attack. And that was kind of the way that Wrexham play in League One. Disappointing against Middlesbrough. I mean, to concede 5 goals in two of them home games is a little bit concerning for Millwall, who are always so solid at the back. And we know Millwall aren't exactly the most free-flowing side in terms of scoring goals. They weren't last season. They were very, very solid on the defence. So... you could even argue it's below par. I'm going to put them in average so far, though. Maybe that's a little bit kind for Millwall. Let me know if you are a Millwall fan. Right, Norwich City, who are currently sat next to Millwall in the table in 11th with, a loss to Middlesbrough, which, they did get sent down to 10 men in that game, right? Yeah, they got sent down to 10 men, but after it was already 2-0. Josh Sargent's been really impressive for Norwich so far, scoring goals for fun, 5 goals already this season. You don't want to make it think, I've not watched every minute of Norwich, I'm not going to lie, but Josh Sargent FC, you can make a strong case for Harry Darlan as a good sign at centre-back. Obviously, they've brought in a few players, a few unknowns in this side, but Josh Sargent, he's going to score goals this season, in my opinion. I've said it from the start, I think he will be the top goal scorer in the Championship if the guy can stay fit. 2-0 win against Blackburn in the last game, which is very, very decent for Norwich. 2 goals for Josh Sargent in that match. So I'd just say for Norwich, there's been nothing to write home about. A couple of really good results in there, a couple of ones where the results weren't quite as good. It's been a bit of a mixed bag with Norwich City, which you're probably going to expect when you've got a lot of kind of a high turnover of players right now. I'd say it's been an average start. Things could probably be better. Things could probably be a lot worse as well for Norwich City. So I do think Manning will be able to get things right at Norwich City eventually. Oxford United, I mean, they got themselves their first point against Coventry. Against Birmingham, they didn't really create all too much. Obviously, against Hull, they conceded them 2 goals. Obviously, got a goal, at the end from Ollie McBurney right at the end of the match. So they could have arguably got a point in that game. But you'd have to say for Oxford, I wouldn't say it's been an absolutely awful start, but I'd definitely say it's been below par. You could put it borderline in those two, but I'm not going to say it's that awful, because, I mean, we are expecting Oxford to be down there at the end of the season. And, I mean, losing the game to Hull is very disappointing. Birmingham City is a difficult fixture. And as well, that a good point against Coventry. Coventry are going to be a team that's up there at the start of the season. And that was a disappointing performance as well, to be fair, against Portsmouth. You'd have to say you could put it borderline in either of those categories, and I wouldn't really argue it too strong for me. Now, speaking of Portsmouth actually made a decent start to the season. We had 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. A 1-0 win against Preston, a really good result, by the way, because Preston have started the season really positively. And Portsmouth running out winners in that game and probably did deserve the win on the balance of play. And they got a deserved win as well against Oxford. So a couple of deserved wins in there you're looking at. And then you go in between in those games, you've got yourself a loss in there against Norwich. And as I say, but Portsmouth, we are expecting to be kind of mid-table season that we come to. I'd say it's been a pretty good start for Portsmouth overall. I wouldn't say they can really have many complaints about it at all. Segacic, is that how you say his name? Sorry, the Australian lad. He's looked really impressive so far. Looks to be a really good addition. I like Colby Bishop up top. He really is a handful. I mean, Andrew Dazzel's even scored a goal. This guy was awful at QPR, and he's actually pretty decent for Portsmouth. Portsmouth fans definitely rate him, which is crazy because, I mean, at QPR, he wasn't really all that for us, to be fair. Right, Preston. I've got to say it's been an unreal start. I mean, obviously they got a disappointing loss against Pompey in the last match. But you look at the team that they've played. I mean, a 2-1 win against Leicester and a win against Ipswich back to back. It's unreal. That is unreal. To beat 2 relegated Premier League teams in 2 weeks. And against Leicester was a really good performance. Ipswich as well. Ipswich definitely created chances in that game. But again, as I say, Preston were really solid at the back, as Majic has been really good this season. A lot of positive. I think the wing-backs have been really good. Valentin and then Thierry Small, wing-back, have both been really impressive. I think Thierry Small is going to be a fantastic signing this season. There's a lot to like about this Preston team so far. And I was one of them that doubted Preston. I did actually put them in the bottom 3, along with quite a lot of other people as well. But so far, I mean, I think they've been unbelievable. I think in terms of the results they've got, fair play. They've proved me wrong so far. And, long may it continue. Obviously, we're 4 games into the season. You can't judge too heavily. But things are looking really bright at Preston. Right, QPR. I mean, I'm borderline because we did get a win in the last match. But it has been overall, it's that 7-1 result. It's that 7-1 result which is enough to make it in Orthodox. Because that was like kind of a big headline that everyone was talking about and saying what the hell is going on at QPR, and it's very valid. So 7-1 loss is absolutely embarrassing. That alone deserves to be in the awful category. Much better against Charlton. It didn't absolutely convince me because, as I say, there was times where Charlton could have maybe gone on to win the game. It was quite an even game for large spells, but in the end, I think we did obviously edge the game in the end, of course, getting the 3 goals and creating a few good chances. Signings are coming in. Richard Coney looks really good at top. There's a bit of positivity around definitely after the last game. Norton Davis is actually decent at left back as well. Centre back, I think we're a little bit light. Goalkeeper, I'm not sure on the keeper as well. I think there's definitely a few question marks. So I'd say just based on that 7-1, it was awful. Say it was a 2-1, 3-1 loss to Coventry, I'd probably put it in just below par. But just that result alone is awful. And speaking of awful, we've got to put Sheffield United in awful. I mean, the easiest one. I mean, Sheffield United probably deserve their own category because given the expectations they had at the start of the season, they've still got a lot of quality in that squad. Obviously, they've gone back into the transfer market and brought in a few players, so we're expecting a bit of a different Sheffield United look after the international break. But you can't really argue it, can you? The chance creativity has been pretty much non-existent, especially away from home. Like no shots on target in the last 2 away matches. And as I say, no goals in the last 3 matches as well. It's been a shambles of a start for Sheffield United, and there's no argument, there's no getting away with it, no getting away from it. And obviously the scenes aren't great at the moment with Ruben Sellers. We'll have to see how he gets in after the international break. You feel like he probably won't be given too much time because Sheffield United, as I said, they've got everybody predicts them in the playoffs for a reason because they've got a quality squad. And you've got the likes of Gustavo Hayman, you've now brought in Tanganga as well. After the international break, there's not really many excuses or anything that Ruben Sellers can have with that Sheffield United team because the quality is there, in my opinion. Of course, they've lost a few big names, which is always going to happen when you don't get promoted. Sheffield Wednesday, it's difficult to really say. I'm just going to say average because they got themselves a point, and it's like anything's a positive. And I do think they've been competitive in the games. They really have given it everything. It's so difficult to judge. And, look at the team. Obviously, the starting 11 isn't absolutely shocking, but you look at the depth in the squad, and it's basically non-existent due to the situation that Wednesday in. You have just got to feel sorry for them. Getting through in the Carabao Cup against Leeds is an unbelievable achievement. Obviously, even beating Bolton is a big win for them as well. Nice little cup run, which isn't even a good thing when, the whole focus has got to be trying to stay in the Championship at this point. But obviously, they've got that Carabao Cup run that there is maybe a slight distraction as well. But as I say, it's very difficult to judge because, the situation they're in, they're up against now teams that have got much more quality in terms of probably starting 11 and off the bench as well, definitely. Really good point against Wrexham. That character to come back and draw the game 2-2 is unbelievable. So, for Wednesday to have a point might even surprise a lot of people. So you can honestly argue we're good, but you've got to say, as I say, it's so difficult to judge Sheffield Wednesday, and it's, you can even argue it has been a good start just because, they've got a point on the board. We're going to go average because, at the end of the day, they are second bottom. Most people predicted them to be bottom as well. So, they're above expectations. So maybe you could argue, you could even put it up a tier. Southampton, I wouldn't say it's been awful. I don't think it's absolute panic stations, but there's definitely alarm bells ringing, You could probably even argue, 5 points in the first 4 games. You could even put it an awful start because I think, with the expectation that these guys have got, they should absolutely be up there at the end of the season. Obviously, it's still very early days. They played a tough game against Ipswich, of course, where they drew the match. Very disappointing to draw that game against Watford. And then it was a win against Wrexham where, again, was it absolutely convincing? Absolutely not. So Southampton, you could probably say it has been an awful start. You can maybe, again, it's another one that I kind of put in between the two tiers of below par and awful for Southampton, but we'll go awful because, as I say, the expectations they have is absolutely crazy. They should be at least pushing automatic promotion at bare minimum this season. Stoke City has been unreal. Obviously, they got a loss in the last match, but you look at how this team has absolutely shocked everybody because I think most people put Stoke probably mid-table like usual, and they have been so impressive. By the way, if you can hear that in the background there, I apologise. But yeah, they've been unbelievable going forward. Million Man Hoof, what a player. On his day, he's a fantastic player to watch. Sorba Thomas has been electric, probably the best player in the Championship so far this season. 5 goal contributions already this season, it's ridiculous. Mabama as well, Lewis Baker from midfield. And as well, that defensively, they've been very decent. Well, Aaron Cresswell's been a really steady addition as well. Wilmot, you obviously got Johansson in goal, who didn't have his best match against West Brom, let's be real. But got an assist, with an unbelievable throw against Southampton. To go away to Southampton as well and pick up a win with 10 men as well. It's really a statement of results. And obviously, it's very early days. You can't jump to conclusions. But Mark Robin's obviously a top manager as well. There's a lot to be really positive about with Stoke. So you've got to put them in the unreal category, given the expectations as well beforehand in the season. Swansea City, I'd say Swansea City have had a pretty good start. They've sat in 7th. They've not been unbelievable going forward. 4 goals scored in the opening few matches, which, as I say, it's not been unbelievable going forward. Defensively, been very solid, keeping a clean sheet against both the Sheffield clubs and getting a draw and a loss in there as well. Of course, losing on the opening day to Middlesbrough, getting a 1-1 against Watford. I'd say it's been a good start. As I say, nothing to absolutely write home about, but if you offered Swansea fans 7 points after the opening 4 matches, they'd probably take that. And as I say, I think they'll be up there in terms of I've put them fighting towards a place in my predictions. I do think they'll be up there. A lot of positivity at Swansea, obviously a lot going on behind the scenes, and pretty exciting. As you say, it's been a good start to the season for Swansea City. West Brom, you've got to put in unreal. I feel like I'm not putting a lot in unreal, but West Brom have been really impressive in these opening 4 matches, getting some very, very good results, of course, against Stoke, limiting Stoke as well and playing really well in that game, as I say, defensively. Solid enough. It looked like a pretty even game by the times, but West Brom obviously kind of sat back. They got that early goal with Nat Phillips, who's been unbelievable, by the way, at the back. They kind of sat back in that game and they were happy to kind of defend that lead. And they did that quite comfortably, you have to say, in the end in the game against Stoke. So, really good result against a team that was also up there at the start of the season. Against Wrexham, a really impressive performance and a really good win there. And then, as well as that, against Blackburn as well, getting a win. And again, they weren't unbelievable, but they got the result at the end of the day. There's a lot of quality in that side. Ryan Mason, of course, still getting to grips with that side as well. Obviously, first managerial job properly. Been a really good start for him. And you've got to say for West Brom, it has been an unreal start given the points and given the performances so far this season. It's been very, very decent. Now, Watford. They got the 1 win against us, and we were terrible at the time. Hopefully we're a little bit better now. One win for Watford, a draw against Southampton, which is a decent result. Loss against Charlton, which is disappointing. Draw against Swansea. You just have to say it's been an average start. It's not been bad. It's not been bad. It's not been good. It's not been below par. I just say for Watford, points on the board performance-wise, it's all been okay. Do you know what I mean? Against Southampton, they created a few chances in the match. And I mean, I say that they actually had one big chance. Maybe I'm just waffling, but I mean, I thought they were worthy of a draw in that game. Obviously, another day, Southampton probably could have got another goal, but to battle back straight after going 2-1 down, you look at maybe at 2-1, Southampton would have ended up winning that match. Watford came back. Iran Kunda, unbelievable free kick. Really good player he is. He could be a really good signing. Maybe one of the signings of the season at the end. This guy still got signed by Bayern Munich for a reason. Now he's here at Watford. 2 free kicks already this season. What a start to the season he's had. And long may that continue. So I'd say it's been an average start for Watford so far this season. And Wrexham, I mean, it's difficult. It's another difficult one to judge because obviously, newly promoted team from League One obviously spent loads and loads of money. And maybe I could put that in an average start. Obviously, I mean, I'm just looking at the fact that they got booed off in the last home match against Wednesday. Obviously, drawing that needs to be 3 points in a game like that. Unlucky against Southampton in the opening day. West Brom, they were okay again, but they probably did deserve to lose that game. Then a really good away performance where, as I say, another day, Millwall, if they could actually maybe hit a barn door, they could have maybe got themselves a goal and it could have been a completely different game. But Wrexham defended well, kind of, as I say, how they were in League One. Defensively solid, picked their moments to go forward, really good on the counter-attack, and just getting through the results. So maybe you could argue Wrexham average, but we're going to go below par, just given the money that they've spent in the transfer window. So let me know your team. And how you think your team has started the season. I'll be very interested to get your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Subscribe to the channel as well. If you've watched this point, please do hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second. It would be very greatly appreciated if you could hit the subscribe button. As I say, if you're a Championship fan, this is the place to be. Do hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.